welcome to Trans Theory, the show. We talk about everything Transformers. I'm your host, Jason, and let's get into this theory. So today we'll be talking about how Bumblebee gets his hammer in Transformers 5. But before we start, I gotta put in this hammer joke.
That's enough! Now, I don't know what you plan on doing here.
I've come here to put an end to Loki's schemes.
Then prove it. Put that hammer down.
No.
Bad call. He loves his hammer.
You want me to put the hammer down?
As we see in the World War II flashback, Bumblebee and his companion, also known as Hot Rod, are fighting the evil Nazis with their squad of human soldiers. But the question is here, how does Bumblebee get his hammer in the first place? Well, back when we saw some of the first trailers with B fighting Prime, people thought it was the Forge of Solus Prime, but that would not be possible because according to TF Wiki, and I'm summarizing it, the Forge can create anything out of anything, and because of the sheer size of the hammer, Solus Prime and her brothers towered over modern Cybertronians. So basically, it's a tool to create weapons, and it's really big. You could say because Bulk had smacked Breakdown with the Forge, and because it's a bit yellow, then this is the Bayverse version of the Forge. But I still disagree because the 13 original Primes were bigger than characters like Prime and B. As an example, look at the Fallen. The only reason why Optimus looks the same height is because he got Jetfire's parts, and the hammer that Bumblebee holds to me does not fit the size of the Forge. So what could his hammer be? Well, looking on hours on Google and YouTube, the name of the Forge is, drumroll please, nothing besides Warhammer. Yeah, that was a disappointment. Well, that was my waste of an hour and a half. I guess I'll be the first to name it then. So what I'm gonna name it is Massacre. Now, say what you want to say, but I named it Massacre because the definition of it is deliberately and violently kill. Because we hear from Sir Edmund Burton that Bumblebee was a vicious unit and helped turn the tide of war.
ZB7. Looks just like B.
It is. He was attached to the Devil's Brigade. Pretty vicious military unit. Helped turn the tide of war.
And with that hammer, he must have killed a lot of Nazis. So who made the weapon? Well, I believe Bumblebee is not an engineer. The most likely candidate would be the Wreckers, or one of the Wreckers, because on a TF Wiki it says, the Wreckers are a group of former engineers turned into fighters. So I believe they created the hammer during the wars of Cybertron because they have engineering tactics. And because they created the Autobot chip, the Xantium, that was later destroyed in the film by the Decepticon Starscream. The next question is, where did it go after World War II? Well, what I think is, after the war, he wanted to be a guardian instead of a killer.
You already know your guardian, Bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
Check on the
Right?
rep. Yep, second and none.
You're my guardian, huh?
So I think after World War II ended in 1945, around 35 years later, he met with Haley Steinfeld's character in the new upcoming Bumblebee movie, and later maybe she died or something, and around 2007, he meets up with Sam, and the timeline from the movie series goes forward. So because of his past in World War II, he did not want to use the hammer Massacre because it reminded him of killing instead of protecting. So I believe to Bumblebee, the hammer was a sign about ZB7, which is the number of the vehicle he was during World War II, I believe, and he did not want to use it anymore when Cade tells Bumblebee to remember ZB7 and to be an Autobot again.
Remember ZB7? You gotta be that Autobot again.
To stand up to the mighty Optimus Prime. So he pulls out Massacre and starts fighting Optimus Prime, but after the fight we never see the hammer again. Last we saw it, he threw it at Optimus Prime's face. Where did it go? I originally thought he threw it and it fell off the ship and landed in the water, but upon further inspection that is not the case, because when Massacre hits Optimus Prime's face, Optimus is rolling down the structure instead of falling in a hole. So either Bumblebee left his hammer lying on the ground, lost it and could not find it, or what I think is the best answer, he found it and picked it up after Optimus was getting trialed from the Cybertronian Knights. So we may see it in Transformers 6, but Bumblebee may not use it because what I described earlier. Well, that's all for this theory. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Trans Theories. If you have a theory you want me to cover, please give me a comment below and I'll do a review on it.
Come on down to Al Chevy on Route 1 for my post-Super Bowl extravaganza sale. Touchdown! Tomorrow we're smashing prices. Alright, back up, back up! Whoa, are you serious? He just threw the chipmunk! No, look at him! Oh, that's gonna hurt tomorrow. That is nuts. Never mess with a Chevy, dude.